Hello, Miss Steele here. I am at the bottom and I am recording what I'm doing with my hands. So this week we are talking about color. So we are going to be making our own color wheels and we're going to make it into a cityscape, which means a city artwork. And we're going to do it from a point of view like we're like underneath. So it's almost like they're above us, kind of coming in a little bit. So for this project, you're going to want a white piece of paper, pencil and eraser. For the end of it, we're going to want a Sharpie and a pen, but we don't need those for a second. And then you're going to want something to color in with. I am going to paint mine, so if you have paints, you can use paints. But if you don't have paints, you can just color in using colored pencils or markers or whatever you have. If you do have paints, we're talking about colors and mixing colors. So you want the three primary colors, blue, red, and yellow. There are three primary colors, and then you want black and white. But I'm going to set those aside because first we need to draw what we're going to paint. So what we're going to do to make our city is we're going to make some lines that come in. So what I want to do is I'm going to make one line across right here. Yeah, I'm going to make it a little bit darker so you can see. So I have one line going across, and now I'm going to add in an X to my paper. Like that. And then my next line. And so if you look carefully, what we did was we created 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different areas. And these are the areas we're going to paint inside of. So now what I'm going to do in each of these sections is I'm going to draw what I want the top of my buildings to look like. So maybe for this one, I'm going to make it have almost a castle top like that. For this building, maybe I'll make it bumpy at the top. So you're drawing the tops of your buildings, and then we're going to erase these lines we don't need in the inside. So there's the next. I think I'm going to make this one just a straight building like that. Over here, I think I'm going to make it go up and then curve down a little bit. So how you make the tops of your buildings, it's kind of up to you. You can use your imagination in deciding how you want it to look. I think I'm going to make this one another straight building. And then for this one, I think I'm going to have it going like this. So now I have all the tops of my buildings, and using these lines we drew to the sides, those are going to be the sides of our building. So I'm going to outline them, and then I'm going to erase all these lines that are outside of my building because I don't need them anymore. So here's my next, here's the sides, and then here's the sides of this building and the top of this one. So now I can erase these lines in the middle like that. So I'm going to get these lines erased and then we'll move on to our next step. So I have those lines erased and now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And using these 6, I'm going to turn it into a color wheel. So what I want to do first is I want to add in my primary colors and then I want to leave a building in between them empty so I can go back and add in our secondary colors. So I'm going to start with yellow, and I'm painting in this whole building using my yellow. Now I'm going to skip a building, so this one right here, and then I'm going to add in our next primary color, and I'm going to use red. So I'm going to paint it in red. And like I said, if you don't have paints, instead of painting this in, you can color it in using colored pencils. Markers would work really good for this. Crowns would work as well, but because they're made of wax, it's going to make it a little harder to add the details on top at the end. So you can use crowns, but I would suggest markers or colored pencils if you don't have paints. But if you have paints, definitely use your paints. So now I have this red. So I'm going to paint this last one blue, and then we're going to start mixing colors to add into our other spots. So I'm going to get this painted blue, and then we'll move on to our next step. All right, so I have my red, blue, and yellow, my primary colors, with the spaces in between. And these spaces actually let me know what color to put there. So I have red and yellow. So in between, I want to put the color that red and yellow mixed make. So I'm going to bring over some red, bring over some yellow, and I am going to mix them together, maybe adding in some more yellow because this red is very strong. And I'm going to mix them until I get an orange, like that. So now in between these two, I am going to put in orange. So I am going to get this painted in using the orange I mixed, and then we'll move on to our next area, mixing colors. We got orange in between the red and yellow because that's what those mix to make. So here what we want to do is mix yellow and blue for this one. So I have my yellow right here. I'm going to add a kiss of blue, and yellow and blue make green. And so these colors that come first from mixing our primary colors, they are our secondary colors. So they're the colors that come second after our primaries. So I'm going to get this painted in green, and then we will move on to our last spot. All right, so we have this left and then just our sky. So in this area, we want to put what red and blue mixed make. So if I'm taking some red and then a little bit of blue, I'm going to mix them, and that is going to give me a nice dark purple. And that's what we are going to put in that next spot, is purple. So red, blue, yellow, primary colors. Purple, which that's showing up really dark, but it's purple, orange, and green are our secondary colors. So I'm going to get this painted in purple, and then we will move on to our next step on this. So I'm painting the top of my building, going down the sides, getting this all painted in purple. And then we're going to paint this in using black, but we'll do that in a second. I got this colored in purple. So now we're going to use the black paint, and if you don't have black paint, as I said earlier, you can just use a black colored pencil or marker. And then I'm going to paint around my buildings in this a whole white spot using this black. And then we're going to finish adding stars using the white. So I'm going to get this painted in black, and then we will add in our stars. Okay, so I have it all painted in. Let me turn the brightness down on this. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in the stars. So I have my color wheel as buildings. I have this open spot. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my white paint, and I'm actually going to take the back of my paintbrush. So I'm not taking this side. I'm taking the back side. Accidentally just dipped it in the black. My bad. And I'm going to dip it in the white. And then I am going to dot it around to add stars. And how you want to add your stars in is kind of up to you. If you are not painting, you can always use a white colored pencil, or even if you have a silver or gold, that might work even better, or a silver and gold Sharpie could work, just something that's a lot lighter than the black. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to let it dry, and then in our next video, I'm going to go back and using a Sharpie and pen, I'm going to go back and add all those different details to this. So I'm going to let this go dry, and I will see you all next time. Have a wonderful rest of your morning, your evening, or afternoon whenever you're watching this. I'll see you later. Bye.